You know the feeling, right? You're up against a wall, and you just need a quick fix to get things moving again. We've all done it. But what happens when those temporary solutions, well, stop being temporary? That's what we're going to dig into today, the hidden perpetual debt of a quick fix.
Ah, the famous last words. The solution was meant to be temporary. How many times have you heard that one? It's whispered in meetings, it's typed into project docs, it's always full of good intentions, right? It's all about that urgent need to just keep things moving. But this one little sentence, it's the tiny seed for a much, much bigger story.
Okay, so let's rewind and start at the very beginning. Section 1, the temporary fix. It's so important to get this right. These fixes, they don't come from a place of laziness. Not at all. They're usually born out of pure, urgent necessity.
And that's the trap, isn't it? It's so seductive. The whole point of the fix is that it's not perfect. Its only job is to do one thing: solve an immediate problem, clear a roadblock, unblock the team. The intention is never, ever for it to hang around for long.
Now, let's be super clear here. This wasn't an accident. It was a conscious decision, a trade-off. The team looked at the situation and said, okay, we're going to move fast now, and we'll deal with cleaning it up later. And you know what? On the surface, that sounds like a perfectly smart, perfectly reasonable move.
All right, let's move on. Section 2, the creeping problem. Because this is where the story takes a turn, right? That totally reasonable trade-off we just talked about, well, it starts to show its cracks. And it happens slowly, almost silently.
And here's the absolute heart of the issue. Temporary solutions, they just have this nasty habit of becoming permanent. We've all seen it happen, haven't we? Later turns into next quarter. Next quarter turns into, well, never. And just like that, the temporary fix isn't temporary anymore. It's just part of the furniture.
So how does this actually happen? Well, it's a slow burn, and it usually follows these steps. First, that temporary logic starts to spread. It gets copied and pasted into other places. Then, before you know it, new projects start building on top of that workaround. And boom, it's not a workaround anymore, it's a critical dependency. The inevitable happens next. Performance starts to tank, things get less reliable, and the final, soul-crushing step, the team is now spending all its time just keeping this fragile thing alive, instead of, innovating.
And this is so important to understand. Nothing broke overnight. There was no big bang, no sudden catastrophe. That's precisely why the risk went completely unnoticed. It was like a slow leak, a gradual drain on energy and momentum. And because it was so subtle, the danger was practically invisible, right up until it was way too late.
Which brings us to the heart of it. Section 3, the hidden cost. So after all that, what was the real price for that initial burst of speed?
So really, what was the true cost? I mean, the initial price seemed so small, right? Just a bit of cleanup work down the road. But was that really it? The real cost, it had nothing to do with that. It was something way more draining.
The true cost is what you see here: perpetual debt. And think about that word perpetual. This isn't a one-time payment. It's an ongoing tax on everything you try to do from now on. A tax on every new feature, every bug fix, all of your progress. It's this growing mountain of effort your team has to put in just to fight against a solution that was never, ever supposed to last.
And this really nails the central danger, doesn't it? The temporary fix itself isn't the enemy. The real problem is that they almost never get removed. Once they're woven into the system, getting them out is incredibly hard. That permanence, that's the real poison.
Okay, so that's a lot of doom and gloom, but there is a way out. So after seeing how this whole mess unfolds, how do we avoid falling into the trap in the first place? Let's talk about the solution. Section 4, the clear exit.
And really, if you remember one thing from this whole explainer, make it this. It's totally okay to use a temporary solution. But, and this is a huge but, you can only do it if you also create a clear plan to get rid of it, a scheduled, non-negotiable exit strategy. Without that, you're not being clever. You're just signing up for debt you can't pay back.
So that brings us to the final question, and this one's for you. Take a second and think about your own work. What temporary solutions are hiding in plain sight? What quick fixes have accidentally become permanent parts of the landscape? And, maybe most importantly, where are your clear exits? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.